extended here to roughly there-ish to provide more parking. They've actually provided more parking than they needed for the original use, which is beneficial for them to be able to have the reception center. But again, to stress that we're not focusing so much on Aroma Tools and the proposed Elevate, I believe, event center. We're talking about the zone. So anyway, based on requiring that reception centers are on the second story of the building and that they're accompanied by an active use that's already permitted in the zone, planning sees that as a benefit to the area in providing a diverse business base. So planning recommends approval of this item. So are there any questions?
I think last time we kind of got off a little bit from our C commercial sales in the grove. So with that said, we'd like to welcome the applicant back up if you'd like to come back up and address us. I'm not sure if we'll have some questions for her. We might have one.
I don't know how much I need to fill in.
Sorry, can you use yourself?
I'm sorry. I'm Alan Higley, owner of Aroma Tools. And do you need an address from me as well for this time? 1543 South, 2050 East in Spanish Fork, Utah. We're excited to be in the community with the Aroma Tools building. The original of the building was obviously the commercial use. The event center and the space we have upstairs, we build out for having meetings. The doTERRA distributors, and we work a lot with doTERRA. We're a very close partner with them in providing the accessories as a true third party to their distributors for what they can use. And so the event space upstairs we're proposing for the amendment tonight was designed specifically for meetings, as a meeting space for these distributors to bring their people and introduce them to the doTERRA opportunity. And then our retail space would be downstairs, so it would be a nice fit. It's been a wonderful fit for us for years. To enhance the use of that building, we were asking for or seeking an addition to the zoning ordinance to be able to allow that space to also be used as this is secondary to its still, but we just want to be able to provide that opportunity to bring some more of those people and on a more constant basis into the community along the boulevard there, hopefully increase opportunity for other businesses to benefit from it as well. So that's for your purpose. I'm happy to answer any questions too as well.
Hopefully we won't get asked, but I think again you addressed the business license in the county before, so we won't really touch base with that. You're covering that on your side of things. So
correct. Tonight
we're just covering what I stated. So Commissioner, do you have any questions for that? All right.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, at that time, this time we'll open it up to public comment again. If we could try to keep it to 2 or 3 minutes, appreciate it. Thank you. So at this time we'll open it up to public comment. Please state your name and address if you'd like to make comment. Jane, come on up.
I won't be redundant because we did spend a lot of time.
Could you give
Jane L. Robinson, owned the bungalow in Pleasant Grove for 43 years. I want to say I am for this opportunity that you are a commission that do your homework and you spend hours. The reason you're here is that we do our city right, and that's why I'm here. I thought it was very interesting after that long discussion to find out that in the newspaper and also by personal invitation, by press release, without having a conditional use permit, without legally being in business, they went ahead and had a grand opening without you saying that it was legal. In fact, there was a motion last time. It was put to motion. It was not a second low because it was something that needed to be discussed. discuss, because we only have one chance to do that right there. And if every second floor becomes whatever anyone wants it to be, it's not the original plan. And I know that all of you folks that helped plan that had a defined movement. And it wasn't to be secondary anything. It was to be designed for what it was to be. I think it was inappropriate for them to go ahead and have a grand opening and to have a press release as if they were in business when you folks were not even considered. To me, it's like you did not exist, and all that we did not exist. And I respect the fact that you are here for a purpose, and it's to design our city, whether Old Town where I live or down there. And our method of doing that was inappropriate. And we have tried to do the appropriate thing for 43 years, and it's a lot of hard work, and we're secondary business. I'd like you to remember what I'm saying. They went ahead as if you did not exist. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Is there any other public comments at this time? Royce, maybe you can address that if you'd like. I don't know, on the opening. Because I think last time we had that hesitation because I think we got off on a tangent a little bit on business license in the county. And that's really not our proper role as a planning commission. It's to discuss the zoning ordinances before us. And so, okay.
Yeah, I'd more or less just reiterate that, we're here to talk about the zone overall, say, is this idea for the zone? Is this not a good idea for the zone? So what the individual applicant has or hasn't done, it shouldn't have a bearing on the decision that's made here, because we're not deciding for the applicant so much as we're deciding for the zone. And this change, affects any business that potentially wants to go into the area.
Can you address, maybe you don't know about the grand opening and the ribbon cutting?
I've seen pictures out there and things, or not pictures, the signs.
Come on up.
I'm sure the
I was
applicant.
going to say, can I make a response to that? When we were talking about it with the city council and with the planning commission and so forth, we had, because we already have a business license as Aroma Tools for our retail space, and the retail space includes business meeting space, and that's already been granted to us, that we thought the event center grand opening to show off the space, especially for the business purposes, was okay. And we actually, we talked to some city individuals and they said that they felt like that would be okay as well. So we went ahead with that. We did ask about it. We did kind of get permission. And we have requests for that space, but we have held off on doing anything else, whether or not we could actually get this ordinance to go through in ways of receptions or whatever. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, still open for public comment. All right, seeing no other public.
One more comment.
Oh, okay.
To ask individuals is not to ask you and get permission to get a second motion. Blatantly, wedding receptions, an invitation, and a press release before they ever had a permit to do so.
So maybe you can address the wedding reception.
So the wedding reception, I do have a permit for. So we granted them a conditional use permit last year, 2 weeks ago, for a single event.
So that was a separate item on the agenda last time we met.
No,
So that-
there was not a second motion for that.
Yes, there was. It was, I think it was the second item on the agenda, Jane, that before we addressed the first item, and then we came to their reception for a special conditional use. So I think Roy's, afterwards you're going to state, he can probably get you.
I know this. I know we're all talking about the ordinance here tonight, but I think that I saw the chamber. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So I saw the announcement there, and I was kind of surprised. I could see that going under maybe Aroma Tools. You're basically introducing your new company, and I think that's where the problem lies. Is introducing a new company rather than having an event for Aroma Tools. Because yes, you already approved to do Aroma Tools, but you were advertising a new company when you didn't have the permits there to move forward with that. And I think that's the problem we face with it. So if that event was for Aroma Tools, then obviously you're well up within that. But that's the problem.
Especially as an ancillary use. Now, one of the things that I know that they're concerned about as far as that use goes is sales tax revenue. And if their concern is sales revenue, I mean, I have asked, and I probably will ask again to, I'd like to put a little real estate office on Center Street, on Main Street here, and I can't do that because it doesn't generate sales tax revenue. So if this doesn't generate sales tax revenue, the idea is that you're going to have businesses out there that generate sales tax revenue. I don't know. I don't know if that's a real sticking point or not at this point.
Any other?
I have a question for Royce on if this is approved. Obviously this opens it up to this type of business in this district. And going forward on that. And I know in their Aroma Tools case, they're not utilizing
to the retail use.
But it could evolve into that.
Yeah, how does that prevent somebody? I mean, they go in there and then, there's a few of us that sell estate up here, and we could certainly find the right tenant to begin with, and you say it's built for that one, and to do whatever you want upstairs.
Well, I guess you could say, so you mean do whatever you want, like in the sense of do a reception center upstairs if you want?
Sure. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, once we pass this, any business that's out there, I mean, you know, what's the other oils place? My oil business, they've got space. Well, they do it. doTERRA, anybody who wants to can do this once this is opened up. I mean, again, if it's just them, we're having a different discussion. We can have a different discussion about, hey, you guys, what the heck are you doing? Have a good opening, and that's inappropriate. And we can also have a different discussion about these are, you know, I mean, heck, it's just one building, it's one business, but we're talking about changing an ordinance to allow anybody to do this from here on out.
Right.
And that's where I, you know, let's separate the two. We're not talking about this, we're talking about the ordinance.
Right.
And the use of the zone. And I mean, right on our main drag out there,
Well,
we have 3 of them.
and one of them, I mean, as Drew said, and we've heard it time and time again by the council that, you know, that they want retail space over there. We got another project ahead of us. Now it's not in this zone. It's slightly over there, you know, where we got storage units. You know, I don't see much difference between those 2 projects. You got different type of things at home, you know. One's an event center and the other one's storage. You know, but you still got the retail, you know, that's down on the bottom floor. And yet, you know, we got that situation, the consistency. 50% is a lot, and I don't know what Home Tools needs, you know, for their they need 50%, you know, to run that business, you know, of the total floor. But you know, if you did approve this, I think 50% might be way too much. Because you're encouraging businesses to go outside that realm. As a city, you got to be constantly enforcing it, and we know that's not always going to happen.
So Royce, I think the commissioners, I think they've expressed some concern, but they can also add some items to this, am I correct?
Or you can modify, you can strike anything like written, you know, it's definitely something.
Yeah, I would like to have a discussion. Maybe is that percentage proper?
I let's change it to 25 to 30%. I'll probably be okay with this.
Because you know, if you have 25 or 30%, you can't have you know, full-fledged business. You know, you can still do what you want to do, but it's not full-fledged. And I don't know what you need space-wise, percentage-wise, what you need for your business, but we're not really specifically talking about your business. We're talking as a general, as a whole. We're not trying to target you. Because if we approve you, then it opens the door for everything else. You know, in that sense.
Well, in addition to that percentage, I know when this came up, the parking was a concern. It was the parking lot that was built. It is big enough.
And they're in too.
So,
and they're in too.
So with that said, so let's just read through it here. It says the following shall apply to use 6399. Reception centers shall not, be located on the ground level. I think we're probably okay with that. Okay. And then the next one is, I get a feeling it's the big one, occupy 50% of the total square footage of the building where they are housed. And so I think that is the biggest one. Am I correct? They're only concerned.
I don't know if it's the only concern that would
It's the
resolve.
biggest thing, yeah.
I would agree.
Okay. So I guess I do have a question for the applicants, if you could come back up. What is your total square footage of the total building out there?
Total footage of the building is 24,000 square feet.
24,000, okay. And then what would this,
With the hallway and the kitchen and everything is 4,000 square feet.
4,000, so it's
less than a third.
commitment, it's a lot smaller than 50%.
So yeah, 30% even would suffice for us if that helps to make it that much restriction.
Okay.
Thank you. Russ, is there any other questions? Thank you. Back up here.
I think, like I said, 50% is way too much. Because then you're encouraging full-fledged businesses. I mean, 12,000 square feet, you know, or even if they build a, you know, a 50,000 square foot building, even a third, you know.
Yeah, but if it's 50,000 square feet, that's a heck of a lot of retailers built too. So, you know, it's the percentage. It makes sense.
So there's different types of motions. There's a motion to approve, a motion to amend, motions to continue, and then one to table. I think what we're talking about here is motion to amend. And so if there's, yes, go ahead.
Can I ask the applicant?
Yep, so we're going to get your started tonight.
You say you have less than 30%.
Yes.
What 25% do you? And I'm not judging my whole thing based upon you, but that's a general question.
Four times 4 would be 16,000, right? So that's still be less than.
Yeah, that's more than enough.
That's more than enough for us, even 25%. So.
So we're putting these six back in.
I can say I just watch it too. Like, you know,
I think we're good. Thank you. Very good. All right, so do we have a motion to amend and move forward?
What do we have to say?
I would.
What should we hit having instruction before we do making a motion?
You could do an approval or you could do an amend. You could say I approve it with the condition that we modify the ordinance. You could say I recommend that we amend and then bring it back to planning commission again.
I think we're good just making a motion to amend what we have.
So yeah, 20% of 24,000 square feet is 4,800.
See, I like that even better based on.
Better.
We're using basically them as
Right.
very good here, and I
20% of 50,000.
yeah.
I mean, it's still a.
You know why I like that?
It's
SBA loans. Right there. That's why. I like that. I like 20% because an SBA loan says that you can rent out, if you have one
Right.
space, you can have 3 other spaces, you basically have a 4-plex. And if you cut that down that much, then that will make it so that has to be an ancillary use. Really.
I agree, 20%, I agree, I think that's.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I move the planning commission recommend the city council approve the proposed text amendment adding use 6399 other personal services NEC Reception Centers to section 10-14-24-1-C commercial sales subdistrict of the Grove Zone in the Pleasant Grove City Code and adopting the exhibits, conditions, and findings of the staff report as modified by section J, letter A, and double I, occupying where it says more than 50% of total square footage. I'd like to modify that to 20% of the square footage of the building.
Royce, that sound okay to you? Perfect. All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Richards. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Coons. All those in favor?
Aye.
We know one name. No. Motion passes. Thank you for your time. All right, next item up is item number 3, public hearing conditional use permit. We welcome Mr. Beasley back. It's been a long time. We can still sit for just a minute, sorry.
Okay. So yeah, this is a renewal of the existing conditional use permit. So the most recent one was granted June 12, 2014. The applicant requested that store vehicles, particularly school bus, for schools that don't necessarily have long-term bus storage, such as smaller schools like charter schools or other private schools that provide to the community. So he wanted to store them between June and August, during the off season for school. Last year, we didn't have any problems reported. The applicant also maintained property in the way that was requested. Basically, they maintain the aesthetic and keep the weeds down, and that was done. So, based on that, let's see if that catches up. This is off of North County Boulevard. Probably, let's see, I'm sure the address exactly. It's like 150 north-ish, I think. North. And so on the west side of that, on the west side of the road, it's just vacant property there. There's some fencing there and an old home. So the applicant just stores the buses out there in the summer. So it's pretty straightforward. Are there any questions about this?
Maybe you can just address the last time was conditional use, maybe just go over that. Just why?
Yeah. So because of the zone being what it is, and we've already talked quite extensively about this zone as being a retail-focused zone, we want to push for commercial development in that area. This is the Grove Commercial Sales Sub-District. So because of that, we've requested that this be reviewed so that we have an opportunity to say, if there comes a time when it just doesn't fit the area anymore, it just doesn't work, even though it may have been maintained correctly, then we can discontinue the conditional use. So it's kind of a safeguard for the city, just allow it.
Great, thank you. Yeah. Mr. Beasley, you'd like to go and introduce yourself again? And most of us know you. Yeah. I must say, I did my due diligence and drove by a few times this last year, and you did a great job. So, well, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate getting the permit. I hope you'll allow me to continue to let Wasatch Transportation store their vehicles there. There's, I think, some side benefits to Pleasant Grove here. These people bring all of these cars from all of the states, bring them here, check them all over. I'm sure there's some minor repairs that have to be done, and naturally, I assume they, cater to the local businesses where it's close. We don't have to run very far and get something fixed or changed. So there be no business opportunities there. And then come on, follow end of August, they all go back out to help the handicapped people get to school, and sure that the car is not worthy, they'll replace it. Who knows? There's the vehicles here. So, information, I'd like to bring up. Thank you. Consider me. Appreciate it. Thanks. All right, this time we'll open up for public comment. All right, so if there is no public comment, we'll bring it back up to the commission. Commissioners, is there any input?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
All right.
I move the planning commission approve the proposed condition. Maybe before I go into that, I've been here for each of Mr. Beasley's approvals. I mean, he's done what he said he's done every year. He's kept his property clean, kept it upkeep. It's not an eyesore, and it's for a very short period of time. And I see no reason why. And I think everybody on the commission is very good. And that's
Some point we might take it away.
right. So having said that, I move the planning commission approve the proposed conditional use permit renewal of the conditional use permit to vehicles temporarily on the property located approximately 439 South Pleasant Grove Boulevard in Pleasant Grove City Code. Actually, it's Pleasant Grove Boulevard in North County Boulevard. Yeah, you go Pleasant Grove Boulevard. Is that the right address?
439 South.
North County Boulevard.
It's 439, right?
439 South.
Is that sound all right?
What's your address there?
409 North, right on the agenda.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so 409 North, 2000 West, and Pleasant Grove City Code. Adopting exhibits, conditions, and findings of the staff report.
Motion by Commissioner Richards, we have a second. Second by Commissioner Armstrong. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Well,
I believe you just voted in his address. He thinks it's his
The
address.
439 South Pleasant Grove Boulevard is the Aroma Tools
Yeah, we
address.
changed- we changed
So
it.
we need to modify that. We're just making sure that, thank you. I mean, I'm happy with extra conditional use permits.
You know, plenty of work.
I do, but yes, but making space for now, yeah.
That's why it's not Pleasant Grove Boulevard. I know it wasn't Pleasant Grove Boulevard.
Thank you, Mr. Weezy. We'll see you back next year. Yeah. All right, next item is item number 4, preliminary plat, located at 52560 South Locust Avenue. Voice. Okay, so this one's for a variance, am I correct?
This one is, no, this is just an application for a subdivision. So, I guess I do want to preface this as we're getting into a few subdivisions. There are concerns at times from members of the public about different aspects of subdivisions and what can be changed or what can be modified in order to meet their needs. So I just wanted to illustrate for the benefit of the public some basic property rights. So at least in the state of Utah, property rights are pretty sacred. And we try and make sure that we allow people to develop their property in a way that is beneficial to them and also beneficial to them. So basically, when we present a plat to the planning commission, what we're looking for is, does it maintain the health, safety, and welfare of the community? And also, does it allow the applicant to develop their property in a legal way? So as a city, we can't tell somebody they can't develop their property. We have to allow them to develop it, but we can set rule parameters that we deem or make it safe and effective. So anyway, so I just wanted to preface with that as we get into this.
The parameters are our zone codes.
Correct, right. Some areas are more extensive than others based on the need. But most of our R1 zones, which all of these subdivisions are included in, are fairly generic for what you'd find in any city in the state. Setback requirements, general lot size requirements, lot width, and so on, just to make sure that things are uniform and that we can kind of control that, what type of development. But again, we can't prevent development on property. All right, so this plat that's been requested, we'll take a single lot down on, I guess I should have it, 560 South Locust Avenue, and we'll divide it into 2 lots. So it's a very long, skinny lot. So lot 2 on the east side is approximately 70 feet wide. And so because of that, this is an R1 zone, which requires an 85-foot lot width. So again, going down to those parameters that we can require, that's one thing that has been upheld by the state, that we can uphold the lot width. So because we require this 85-foot lot width and it's only 70 feet wide, staff recommends that the applicant seek a variance. And I've talked to the applicant about that already, and he's working on a variance application so that we can go forward with the Board of Adjustment. Again, that's a recommendation that you can make, or not. I suppose you could deny the plat at this time and then ask them to redo things in a different way. That's just going to be part of the motion. Right. So here's the property. So there's an existing house on the east side with a couple of accessory structures back here. Here's the plat. So we're going to have an 8,000 square foot lot here, and then is 37,421 square feet on this side. So big, deep backyard, or I guess if you want to. So again, it's this lot is really the issue. Down here, the lot width is okay. This is more than 85, but up here we only have a 70-foot lot width.
Right, so they access the property there.
They're accessing the property from this side. There has been a history of some issues. As you can see, this little strip of area in providing access. The Apple development down there was part of our planned unit development. Planned unit development code, which we no longer have on the books. The city council decided they didn't like what they were getting out of that. But one of the things that comes out of that code was
this little strip being here to be maintained by the Apple Grove HOA. So the applicant has worked with the HOA and according to our knowledge has obtained access there. So according to what in my review and looking at the plat and measuring things out and everything, the only issue I do see is that lot width. So again, I would recommend as a condition of approval, that the planning commission requires a variance on lot width of 15 before this is taken to the city council. So are there any questions on this item?
So again, this meets, I see it meets the minimum lot size for the variance. And so I'm on the variance, which take note of that for the Board of Adjustment, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So basically, between now and between the time they go to city council, assuming it's approved here, well, I suppose you could deny it and recommend that they go to city council and have them come back here. But you can also approve it, saying that they need to go to Board of Adjustment, city council requirement, Board of Adjustment. You could have them go to Board of Adjustment, get a variance, and then go to city council.
But if we just put it in the motion, then it takes care of that.
Correct. Any questions?
Any questions for Royce?
So in summary, you're saying this lot is not wide enough to do what we need to do. Is that what you're?
The eastern lot.
The eastern lot, gotcha. Okay.
So we'll measure about 50 feet back from the property line, which is roughly there. It's not.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you. We're in this time. It's a public hearing, so we'll, what's that? Oh, sorry, applicant, sorry. I'm jumping the wrong two parts tonight. Mr. Roundy, right?
It's Jason Roundy. I currently live at 770 East Orchard Drive, just around the corner. So this is a lot we've had our eye on for a while. We're friends with a lot of people in the area, and went up for sale. And we're just very excited to subdivide and intend to build a house just there off of Apple Grove Lane. And simple.
Thank you. Is there any questions for applicant?
There's an existing house on
I see
lot.
that. And a shed, and there's a shed too.
There's a couple sheds will be on the back of lot one. Lot two, we intend to sell that with the home too. We have some interest in buyers already.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Now, it's public input. If you'd like to come up and address the commission, please state your name and address. I thought everyone was here for your items tonight. We'll see no public input. We'll bring it back up here to the commission. Further to the motion.
It's kind of interesting with the homeowners associations. Should see if they have these.
We just got to remember if we was a motion, we put in there about the board of adjustments and the variance approval. So.
Mr. Chair, I move that the planning commission approve the proposed two-lot revision called Jason Roundy Plat A, located approximately 560 South Locust in the R18 zone. And the dock means that it's been defined to staff report with the exception subject to the variance approved by the Board of Adjustments in regards to the narrowness of the lot
Prior to that,
prior to the city council. Is that good?
we have a motion by Commissioner Richards. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Coons. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. All right, item number 5. Okay, so here's an example of copyright stuff again. So this property was subdivided legally originally down on 950 East 900. What that means is that this oftentimes unbeknownst to the person who subdivides it, they just usually deed off a section of property, not knowing that that's not permitted without going through a full subdivision approval. And then the city will find out about it, discuss that with the applicant, and in order to make the lots legal, we need to put them into the subdivision. So subdivision would legalize these lots. It's more of a bookkeeping thing because the lots already exist and nothing is changing from where the lots are currently. There's the property area. As you can see, the two properties currently exist on the county records, so this was already recorded. There's an existing home here, and then there's no home. There's some outbuildings and things down on the side of the property. And then here's the proposed subdivision with a bit of street dedication, which is also pretty common for properties that were not subdivided as they should have been. So again, it's more of a bookkeeping thing. It's pretty straightforward, but this is where the city comes in to say, we need to make sure that things are done legally and correctly, and also have information that matches reference. And we don't want somebody to buy a property and find out that it's not, we don't have to go through that. So,
We're just doing a cleanup, right?
pretty much, right? So, any other questions? Any questions for the? Interesting. Is the applicant there? Come on up and introduce yourself.
My name is Brandon Sidwell, and I live in Alpine right now.
Can we get your address?
114 South Wildflower Drive.
That's a cool name. Do you have anything you want to add to this, or?
Well, really, we just want to move to Pleasant Grove. We bought some dirt. We want to live here.
Well, great.
Yeah. We're excited. Hopefully we get in. We move in, and I don't know, is there anything else? We've got good neighbors. We've got some right here.
It's too bad we can't bring your street name with you.
Yeah. I don't think that I'm entitled to name the street, but right now we could probably name it Patchwork Quilt.
This time we'll open it up to public comments. If you have any comments, please state your name and address. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Jack Young. I live at 960 East, 830 South in Pleasant Grove, which is 960 East is at the top of where he would come out, or excuse me, 950 East is the top where he would come out. Does this work? Right here is 950.
Okay.
So, couple of questions, I guess. I'm not sure it's for the commission as much as it is for the owner. But
we have him here. We can.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. But first of all, this is not necessarily a cleanup. It appears as a cleanup. And so I had interest in this property. I looked into it. I went before the DRC back in October. Brought in some conceptual plans, and was told that I couldn't divide the property. Patchwork quilt. I mean, this really needs to be cleaned up in many ways through this. But at any rate, I guess one of the questions I have is if there's a home built on this property, will it be back far enough to allow the road to go through the south when the south is built?
One second, we don't know.
don't know that. We still have yet to have the engineer submit a plan that shows where the existing structures are in relation to the property lines. I can kind of guesswork it on Google Earth, but as far as finding specifics.
So that'd be a separate item that would come before us, and that you'd have the opportunity to see that.
Okay, so you guys have no expectations of that?
We haven't seen it yet, so we can't really,
Okay.
really.
That would be the first thing. The thing is, I was told that, unfortunately, the curb and gutter needed to go all the way along the entire parcel. And, that really, dives into, Cheryl and Dave's property.
You're talking all on.
I'm talking about this area right here. So under the assumption that if you grant this cleanup, that will also be a stipulation going forward.
So we see that.
Right. As you can tell, I'm not opposed to what's being proposed. I'm just making sure that the playing field is what the DRC ruled on when I came to Germany.
Can I ask, what did you want to do with it?
I wanted to subdivide it. I wanted to clean it up. I wanted to take this piece of property right here and cut it off and give it to this guy here. I felt like there could be a lot here. But this road, they told me this road had to go all the way through here to 10 South. And there's a Joyce Story owns a piece of property right here between 10 South and their property that would have to be managed. And I was told that
Who was telling you this?
DRC, that this 10 South area right here would not be a road when it was put in that could be accessed by property owners, which meant that everyone would have to access this piece of property from this 950, and that's why they were requiring that to go through. If it truly isn't a cleanup and all of those stipulations are met, you know, in the original DRC with this, and I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that.
Thank you. Where's anything else?
Because you have access. If you want to create a lot down here, you have to have access somehow. And bringing access up to here is no road. At least I don't understand. Just a different proposal. Where there's no houses going in here, there's no development going on, the road wouldn't be required to go down unless the property owner decided to subdivide this section and provide one lots.
It has a 30 feet of frontage, right?
Correct, yes, that's good.
Which means that road will never go through. This is put there, which indicates that certainly.
Did you still where did we address that?
Well, we hope the road doesn't go through, so that'll wipe out the house. We're hoping
Can't worry about
Yeah, I'll just say, and this is what I've been saying the whole time to anybody that's asked me, our house is gonna sit right there. It's gonna sit right there. There's not gonna be a road through there. I'm not trying to subdivide anything in here. There's gonna be a horse back there and critters. I like open space, and that's why I'm moving down here. That's why we bought it.
Thank you. All right, it's still open to public comment. Is there any other comment?
Yeah, my name is Dave Chandler, and Cheryl and I are the homeowners for the regional lot there. Now our concern is the property, the curb and gutter coming in, taking away so much of our property, forcing they're coming in at least 15 feet from the edge of the road into our property. And we're wondering how much is our responsibility, how much the city is going to be able to help us with it, or how are we going to?
Which property is yours?
Yeah, can you have a little voice up there?
Hey, I'm talking about this property right here. That's the whole front of our property. from that widening the road, my understanding is coming like 27 feet from the center of the road toward our into Aubrey.
I don't know the exact distances. This is a situation where you do not have the individual responsible for the illegal presence anymore.
Correct.
So it is difficult in that regard. But because the property was divided without going through the legal process, the city can require this. We can also require that the property be recombined in single piece. They can be joint owners. But in order to create what the original owner of this property divided it, these are the requirements of the and that's what it should include this in front of the property. Now, how the two of you work out what that contract is going to be.
What about the trees that have to be taken down?
All of that needs to come out.
And pay for that?
That is between the two of you as a property. The city has no, the city does not make the decision to subdivide property. Private individuals.
Yeah.
But you're taking away they're into our property and there's no compensation.
That's part of your application to subdivide property. I recognize that you are not the ones that initiated this. You're inheriting it. But that is the requirement of the city ordinance, that when you subdivide property, you build the standard streets in front of you.
And we have no recourse out of it.
We own it. We paid our taxes and we own that property. We have to give it to you and then pay for it.
This is called
In order to
legal
subdivide.
legally done.
Commission's opposition.
The city could actually come in and say, guess what? You're joint owners of one property still.
So he went, I guess, when he went through the county instead of going through the city.
Which puts you in that, position you're in.
So yes, a deed was taken to split the property. The county recorded it. What was done is legal in the sense that a properly prepared deed was presented to the county recorder. They split the property as directed deed. The city has a process whereby within the city limits, you have to do certain things.
The city has priority.
The city controls the subdivision process. The recorder simply has the responsibility under state code to record loan transactions.
Thank you.
Thank you. You don't have to reintroduce yourself, so. So I was just gonna mention to the commission that, looking at this, one of the suggestions that I had is not mess with Cheryl and Dave's property here, and actually put curb and gutter here in front of Sterling Fitzgerald's place, in place of doing that in front of Cheryl and Dave's. And I was told that might be an option would have to get. And this is probably news to Sterling because he's sitting over here as well, but that may be an option for you guys to consider. You wouldn't have to mess around with
Well,
it.
it's not an option. I mean, it's one that has to be to us. We don't get to propose it.
Well, I mean, you don't even have to, I mean, this discussion we're having right now, that really has nothing to do with anything that you are going to build on tonight. This is just laying the groundwork for future discussions. Correct. Yep. Any other public comment? All right, see no other, we'll bring it back up here to the commissioners.
So obviously the sidewalk requirement would come together with the application to build the house. Because I don't see anything on there talking about sidewalks.
I mean, it's a standard thing. Every time you have a subdivision that's created, we always require street improvements. So that's why there's street improvements required here, because there is a subdivision. So that's a code thing and not something that you guys they could apply for a variance. Wow, it's a self-imposed issue. So I mean, really, unless they decide not to subdivide, then they're in trouble. But since it's a legal subdivision, we really don't have.
Right? So what we have before us is what's been explained. Do we have a further discussion or a motion?
I have a question, I guess. Is it too late?
We can, I can approve public comment. Come on back up.
Well, I guess.
You're laughing.
Yeah, sorry, I mean, I don't know about these things, so I don't know. Did I just hear that there's a possibility to do Sterling's piece in lieu of theirs? Not a possibility?
I think he said it.
That
No?
They said it was an option, but it had to be approved.
So that would be a separate.
That's a different thing than this now.
Can we apply for something like that? Or, I mean, what's? Vegan?
Comments given on a different proposal. You want to bring a different proposal? We can talk about different.
Well, I don't know what my options are, so I'm kind of just.
So an option you have is.
Could we do like a variance or some other thing?
The planning commission can be, move this to our next meeting and give you enough time to talk with staff on this.
A variance isn't going to be granted on this because variances are based on the fact that it's not a self-imposed hardship.
But it's really what, all we really want to do is we want to be good neighbors. So we want to be good neighbors to them, we want to be good neighbors to Sterling, we want to be good neighbors to whoever we're living by. I don't care who they are.
Royce.
So whatever we can do to make it the best possible
These
scenario.
folks didn't impose that hardship on themselves. They inherited the hardship.
Yeah, I mean, they can apply for a waiver of protest. Okay, never mind. I think it's because it's an illegal subdivision, you have a lot stricter requirements on this one.
So maybe the best right now, is maybe continue with it, continue it to our next meeting. They have a chance to meet with staff. When do we, so just so you know, when do we meet? When's the next meeting?
The next meeting is May 14th. So 3 weeks, I think.
I think we're inclined to say, go ahead and do it. Do this, but you would be required to put if we prove this as a subdivision, you'll be silent.
See, that's that kind of bites too.
Well, I mean, we're putting it, we just don't want to impose on them, and if they're a swap,
So
that would make it.
We're
better
talking
for-
about continuing, so you have more time to talk about
Explore
this.
that.
So you can talk to each other and staff.
Staff.
But isn't it really a possibility?
Yeah,
Just the way
it's
it
not a
is.
possibility, because I want to start building,
Well,
right?
that's what we're saying, is this is the opportunity to go to staff, your options are.
Well, I wish I would have known these options were available to me when I started this a month and a half ago, when I bought this property, because none of these things were options to me. It was do this and try to get it approved or anything, so.
And so if it's really not an option, then we'd rather.
Yeah, if it's not an option, we just go ahead with it right now.
So let's ask staff. And
Because at one point we even said we'd put money in escrow to do their part later, and that wasn't an option, so if it's really not an option, then we'd rather just continue.
well, let's find out. So,
I can't answer that question. I'll have to do some research.
so again,
Discussing with the DRC was a completely different proposal.
yeah. So I know you want to move quick on this, but again, the options we have before us is approve it as is, or we continue it to May 14th to give you enough time to talk with staff and your neighbors and see what we can do. It's up to you.
I'm not going to recommend that the improvements not go in. I don't know if the Board of Adjustment would see anything. This is the process for subdividing that. I really wish Mr. Orton had done it differently. He did not.
I want to build a house.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're still up here with the commission. Is there any further input or discussion?
So I think so when you say you want to build a house, that means you want to go right now. Is that what you want to do it, or do you want to do,
It kind of puts me on the spot then, right, doesn't it? Because I've got my neighbors here that I'm just, it makes me feel kind of greedy, right? I want to build a house, but I don't want to tear their yard up, do it.
Yeah. So again, I mean, it's up, again, we have the option of waiting to make with you. I don't know what your time schedule is, your time frame. So all we have before us is what's before us for an option to continue to help you.
It is like you said, there's no guarantee that it's gonna change there, so.
Well, that's kind of where, you know, with all my conversations with Deegan, and that's, or where we are where we're at, I think. And I don't know. I'm looking for advice here. I'm just a country boy.
He wants to worsen some critters.
So, thing that we have had recently, we had an illegally subdivided property, and it's a similar situation. They didn't have street improvements like they needed to have. They had to be added to the subdivisions and make it legal. And the Board of Adjustment did grant them a variance for reductions of the sidewalk requirements, but they did require a sidewalk to be put in. They just didn't have it in the park strip, and they didn't have to put in the sidewalk as wide as they were supposed to. So I don't know. Again, we have to investigate what the options are. I'm just saying that's a different situation, but it's somewhat similar. So if you'd like to try and apply for a variance, you can go ahead with that process. So
who applies for the variance? Would he apply for the variance?
if you're planning on just putting in the sidewalk the way the standard on your frontage, correct?
Well, I was gonna do it how, I was gonna do it how I'm told to do it. I gotta put curb gutter, sidewalk, asphalt, 15-inch storm drain, and all that kind of stuff in there.
So,
But it doesn't really,
But just west of us.
just west of us, it just
It's a
stops.
4-foot sidewalk, and then
Right, there's 4-foot sidewalk, and then
there's gonna be
there's
half of
Sterling's
nothing, and
home.
then 5 foot,
And
so it
there's-
doesn't make sense anyway.
yeah, that's why the whole patchwork look thing came in, right, And if I had it my way, I'd have to talk to Sterling about it. It seems to make more sense just to keep coming up the road, right? Sidewalk, sidewalk. Stop at their house, pick it up whenever. I mean, it's just silly.
right. And like I said, you can always apply for a variance and always pursue it. Doesn't mean that it will happen. Doesn't mean that that'll go through. But they can apply for it. So it's so yeah.
What's that gonna cost?
So the application for variance is $300. And it's it would be in June, correct?
Sorry.
So we keep with what's before us. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. All right, so you've heard that, commissioners. Any further discussion or questions for Felicia?
Well, yeah, I just want to mention here that you're not doing this to your neighbor. Both of you have a problem that you jointly need to solve.
Right, I get it.
So-
Yeah, I didn't come in with the intent to start costing people money and to make a problem in the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
this was a problem that both of you have that was handed to you. Sorry, that has nothing to do with the city, has to do with who you purchased the property.
Okay, that's good.
Any other comments? Any motions?
I'll make a motion. I move that the planning commission approve the proposed 2-lot prison called the Sidwell subdivision plat A located at approximately 950 east to 900 south in the R18 zone, and adopting exhibits, conditions, and findings of the staff report as found below. That's it.
And we have a motion by Commissioner Armstrong and second by Commissioner Richards. All those in favor? All right,
Are we neighbors now?
so we're good. All right, item number 6, family plat located at parking 700 north, 700 east, Monkey Town. I just like saying Monkey Town. Love our neighborhood names. Okay, so it said 700 east, 700 north, R19, single family zone. Where's maybe you can wait this thing so I don't.
Sorry, guys.
All right, okay, so this is a 5-lot subdivision. This has been through a few different iterations, originally applied for a couple of months ago.
So it's a 5-lot subdivision on this property up against the canal. So the request is, let's see here, that we have these 5 lots, 2 existing homes on 2 properties. We've, like I said, been through several iterations of this, trying to figure out the best way to get it to work. The applicant has, I guess, kind of trying to figure that out. And we finally settled on this. So in review of it, the minimum building pads are met here, all the setbacks are met. And it looks like, or I guess it doesn't look like it, the flag lot stem here matches the requirements. So everything is fitting on this property, which was a bit of a challenge as we worked through it. But overall, in looking at it, you can see the remaining structures here. We've got a house here, there's a shed back here. All these things meet the setback requirements. It's based on the fact that all of the lots meet the minimum lot size. They all have building pads that are buildable to meet the zone requirements. And the fact that the existing structures to remain all meet the setbacks, as well as one that they've indicated is not to remain also meet the setbacks. So there's no reason why staff would recommend, staff recommends approval on this. I guess I'm even getting tired of So, are there any questions on this? Any questions for Royce? Okay, let's do it. All right, is the applicant here, Mr. Chapter?
Mr. Chapman is not here.
Okay, so who?
We have Caleb Pugmire
Oh, okay,
representing us
works great.
during
My name is Caleb Pugmire. I'm from Bountiful. I'm a licensed agent, real estate agent in Center. And I've been working with Jim Chapman.
your address, I'm sorry.
The address is 1250 North, 200 West, 84010.
Thank you.
Ken is in Oklahoma this evening, and so he asked me to address you all because he's there making life more better for the Oklahomans. I lived in Dallas for 9 years, so I can say y'all and I can say more better. So in this subdivision, what is this here? We realized that here in front of this house, we'll be required to place a sidewalk and curb and guttering that's in the, and of course the hammerhead and the placement of utilities. All of this is in the budget. There's one inconsistency here I noticed. Every lot here says 9,000 square feet. That's the minimum. Is that right?
Right.
Well, this says 9,000, and it says 0.229 acres. I believe 0.229 acres is correct, but that makes the lot size of 9,975. So there's an inconsistency here.
Okay.
But I believe we meet all the requirements. One way or the other. Okay. I am representing as an agent the purchase. I wrote purchase contracts with both Ann Newman, who owns the property that would be here up to approximately there. Tom Strasburg owns the property here to about here. I'm shaky. So Tom called me tonight and said he wouldn't be able to make a meeting, but he just wanted me to make sure that he's concerned right here where his existing shed that's been there probably over 20 years. It says the shed has to be removed. He's not willing to do that.
You can change that.
Okay. It only extends over about 1.5 feet.
Royce, is that affecting the
engagement?
Approaches in PUE, I believe we gave direction, there's an option to remove it or modify the PUE in that regard.
Okay, which is what we need to do because
Back in the comments, actually thinking about, I think what we said is show the 10-foot PUE, give permission from the utility companies for the encroachment.
Okay.
And it would be fine. If the shed would be removed, then it wouldn't be reconstructed. That says the utility companies give permission. They quite regularly give permission for encroachment on side yard PUDs where they don't have any facilities, so it's not a big deal. We can work that.
Okay, great. So I believe that was the only issue that either the property owner had with this plat. And my understanding is that Reeves and Associates, the engineering company that drew this plat, has met all of the requirements now with this particular version.
They have resubmitted, they resubmitted today, we have not received that.
Oh, I thought they had submitted it, resubmitted earlier today.
We have another submission to this is, but this is more recent submissions.
Okay. That being said, I don't think there's any other issues.
Do you have any questions for our applicant here? Bill, any questions? All right, none, we'll open it up to public comment. Input.
Name is Christopher Egbert. Address is 760 North Mahogany Drive, which is that. A couple things. Thanks for sending out a mail notification since this did get deferred. I was able to, I missed the agenda on Monday, so that's the only way I knew. A few concerns I have. I don't see any drainage type plans for this subdivision, and maybe it's not far enough along. But I have a concern with that because between my property and my neighbor to the south, we've had some issues when either of us are running irrigation. I get water in my basement. We've now sorted it out, how to manage when we're doing it and how much. Neither one of us have extremely lush. We're trying to keep it minimal. But if drainage is just going to take into the topography of this, I'm going to get that. Now, I have a garden area here, which gets part of it, I'm sure. But as I decide to live downstairs more and more, I want to make sure I know who to hold accountable when I submit a bill for additional expenses that come, something like that. So I would hope that maybe drainage go out this way. The other thing is a concern for fire access. I don't know what the rules are here, but if there's an issue with one of these houses, am I going to get the fire department running hoses through my yard, or I don't know.
You might, but this hammerhead was put in with, I mean, this meets code that the fire department requires in order to get a fire truck in there and turn it around.
Okay, let's talk about that easement. When this person, or this person, or this person do the sell to the next person, how likely, or how do we prevent this becoming somebody's little garbage can repository, or RV parking spot, or snowmobiles? How do you regulate that?
Same way the rest of the streets are
Right. So we don't permit parking on any flag lots down. We can park on the side, we park in there, because we get a complaint about that, and then they take it on
The only people who would know are these guys, because that is not from here or here.
Well, the fire department will know if they hit in there. I mean, it's one of those things with enforcement, we can't constantly be watching people, but it is illegal.
All right. This easement might also be used to somebody with special needs that has a recurring service that comes pick them up. Do they report that sort of thing?
The flag sign was posted as a no parking zone.
How does it get posted? What do you mean? A sign?
A sign that says no parking. Anytime.
Okay.
So I agree. There's people who can do that. There's people who park in front of fire hydrants. There's people who park in crosswalks. It's just an enforcement issue.
Anytime you give a call, they'll come and
Well,
give a ticket.
I'm not looking to do that. It's usually when there's a problem,
Well, and it's
that's
also-
when they find out.
It's also their safety, they're doing it. It's
Right.
a road that they have access to, and if they want the fire truck or ambulance, hopefully they enforce themselves.
Hopefully. This grade also is not just a drainage issue for me. It is significantly higher back here than here. And as you know, since this canal has been, encapsulated and turned into a highway for pedestrians, we hear all conversations all day long that it carries over. Does that make sense? I don't know what kind of things can be put in other than maybe a wall of sorts as part of this subdivision plan. So I'm not conversations even more, especially in the construction issues. This was a summer-long construction site. In front of this property, a different summer, I had Tracos parked in my driveway for 2 straight days because there's a junction there. And I was picking up just their wrappers and their Carl's Jr. cups, and I couldn't get in and out of my driveway. I didn't even know when they were gonna park there, and I had a 5-foot trench that I couldn't get out of my driveway. I missed 2 days of work. That aside, the grade for noise, drainage, and also the concept of a construction site, my thoughts are, I've not talked with the developer person yet on this, nobody's approached me, but they'll probably do one house at a time as they can do it. That means this could be a very long project and kind of a nuisance, considering I've already dealt with this, I've dealt with this construction, and I've been here for less than 5 years. So please take that into consideration. And if there is a wall type, I would prefer not a vinyl. They're not very permanent. And anyway, and this property does not even have a wall of sorts. We have a chain link fence, which is nice, and it just deters the deer from hopping over it, but just going through this way, which is fine. But there are many small kids here that would be able to climb on a tractor when nobody's there. And sure, parents should watch, but it could happen. And generally speaking, I'd like to, this kind of subdivision is very different than the rest of the homes in the area. Now zoning permits, but and I've been to a couple of these things, we talk about the spirit of the law. And I'd like to maybe consider maybe larger homes and two of them with the same acreage involved, because that would fit more so with the rest of the neighborhood that has been established for some time. I guess that's all I have to say.
So I've heard a few things there. I mean, we can't, what we have before us is what we have before us. I think I heard drainage concerns. Maybe we can touch on that just for a moment. Murdoch Canal, the noise is what it is. I mean, that's a separate issue, than what we have before us here. So we have comments on the drainage.
Property owners are responsible for water that falls out of the sky.
Right.
The common stem access to the back 3 lots is 25 feet wide. 20 of it is paved. That pavement is directed into the 5 foot that remains as where that water runs off. So it's a very narrow driveway that runs into that. It also would run back towards the street. If someone builds a home on the middle lot there and have the pavement around their side and it's running to the west, that's their responsibility to deal with it. Just as if you were irrigating your backyard and you're flooding the neighbor to the south, the responsibility is on you. If it's raining really hard and you've got a gutter directed that way, that's your responsibility.
So my recourse is with them individually if I have a property damage
It's a
issue.
civil issue. It's not necessarily against the law, and that we send a police officer to fight.
Can't the the grade be such that it doesn't add to the problem of the plot?
Property owners who are wise in that do that.
I'm talking about the development of the house area right now. What if they put it up on the hill
What we're
and
looking
run
at
it
right,
to the
what
backyard?
we're looking at right now is a subdivision of property. We're not talking about building homes. We have no idea when somebody will build on this. It could be a very long time.
Okay.
When they come in and choose their home, I always hope that people look at their lot and choose building plans that work with their property rather than against, you build a home on a steep slope like the one.
Right.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. People do it. It is possible to do it. They're responsible for their lot.
Okay. With that grade, I mean, there would be the chance that works too. I failed to mention that with just the noise. I know Marek is that way, but we're gonna have neighbors basically in our backyard, and that's it's very contrary to why I bought the place. So, all right. Any other questions for me?
None. Ms. Craig? Thank you. Still open for public comments? No. All right, seeing that there is no further public comment, we'll bring it back up to the commissioners for conversation and motion.
I don't have a problem with it either. I think like was said, when it comes time to build, that's when you sort out the issues and he's mentioned, here as far as the opportunities, I guess, will be there to talk with your neighbors, but I guess there's good course that can happen if there's a issues.
Thank you. Any motions?
Mr. Chambers, the Planning Commission approved the proposed 5-lot preliminary subdivision called Newman Estates, located at approximately 700 North, 700 East in the R1-9 single-family residential zone, and adopting the exhibits, conditions, and findings of the staff report.
We have a motion by Commissioner Coons. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Furlong, second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you for representing. All right, Royce, it looks like the two people are there.
So keep this together and lengthy for you. We've got 77 slides in this presentation, so
77?
yeah.
Is that a record?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. So we'll start out with the pictures though. So that's good. So Garden Grove preliminary subdivision plat. This is 15 South, 1300 West, and this is again the Grove zone, but this is our mixed housing district, so we're not worried about the commercial requirements here. So there are 68 lots in the subdivision. The majority of them are single family homes, which are also townhomes and neighborhood units. This is the fact that any mixed housing project over 5 acres in this zone requires 3 different distinct types of housing, and that the largest amount of acreage is occupied by the lowest density. So here's an aerial of the property. As you can see, 2 existing homes here, both to be removed when the subdivision goes in. And we're on the very edge here of the mixed housing zone. This is actually one of the larger parcels that's still available. So yeah, we're going up the mixed housing down there. All right, so here's what the plot looks like. So 3 different housing types. You've got townhouses over here, woodwork units over here. These are what's called lot homes, and then in the middle these are gardens. But the lot homes and the garden homes are both single family. So this pretty much lot.
Is it a 0 lot line? You know what it is?
No, so they have required setbacks. But 0 lot line. I guess I'm maybe not familiar with what you mean by that.
Buildings butted up right to each other.
Yeah, this is well, they're close. Got 5 foot side yard setbacks, so this is 10 feet between buildings and the
in this zone, and then 15 and 15 on the front of that. Right, so the townhouses, of course, would be attached to each other, so those are considered multifamily because they're part of the same building. Whereas all of these, again, are technically single-family homes. So most of the single-family homes you'll see here. So, kind of combining these two, the Garden Grove site plan hand in hand with the subdivision. So again, the proposal, 68 homes, there are 41 single-family homes, and then 17 townhomes and 10 woodwork units. So that meets the requirement for the zone, with the majority being the lowest density. So here is a look at where you'll see landscaping, housing, and the asphalt. So let's see, this here being 1300 west, and then this will be the extension of 100 south. 100 south will eventually curve down over and meet Pleasant Grove Boulevard once this property over here is developed. Here's an aerial view provided by the applicant. He wanted to illustrate the fact that you can see these rooftops here being a little more distributed, I guess, than the surrounding area, with larger rooftops, more dense housing. And then again, a look at rooftops. You can see smaller rooftops here. We have larger rooftops in all the surrounding area. Again, I should have mentioned that. So this is divided into 2 phases, and we're approving a phasing plan here as well. So phase 1 will be Plat A, which is the plats are divided by this line here. Plat B is down here, phase 2. So phase 1 will be built obviously first. So we'll see this northern section go in initially. So going into some of the specifics, requirements of the zone, the landscape plan landscape requirements in the zone are fairly extensive. So as you can see, there are quite a few trees that are included in this overall plan, as well as bushes and things which are harder to see on this larger view. However, we're so it's 127 trees for this development. The applicant has indicated that there is 127,635 square feet of contiguous open area. That excludes area that's within these fenced spots here, which I'll get to in a moment. But because of that 127,635, we round that up. And so if you divide that by 1,000, you end up with a requirement of 128 trees. So the applicant, looks like he meets that. However, there is a requirement that he needs to have at least 30% of those trees be evergreen. So that is not the case, as there are roughly about 4 that I saw. It looks like there's a couple more in this picture now. They're on smaller pieces like this that were originally presented. So this is the northwestern corner, just kind of up here on the frontage. So, a lot of these basically just break it down into showing where all the trees will be and individual bushes. So these are the garden homes. So there's a courtyard area in the middle here, and then we have sets of 5 homes that will be in the middle section of the development, with a courtyard garden area in the middle. So originally, I learned this yesterday, the applicant thought that he was designing for one of our sub-districts in the zone design districts, which is called the Garden Design District. I guess Ken indicated that was what it was. In my review, it turned out that he's actually in the Mountain Design District. So it's been designed for different districts, but he can apply for a waiver on that design requirement through the City Council. So that's his prerogative if he wants to do that. So anyway, that's why we have Garden Grove and the garden homes and all this kind of things. And that would be right up to the council. That's right. So continuing through landscape plans here, you can see that there's just different orientations for plants, which we like to see. We don't like to see the same thing repeated over and over. So the lot homes, this is going through a few different types. There's some elevations showing what the lot homes will look like. So we have a mix of like a stone, a stucco, and like a wrought iron elements. So technically, a lot of these homes do meet the requirements for the mountain design district, although they were not specifically designed for it. Mountain design requires stone, stucco, and iron. So there are different design styles. So we have this Euro design style, the Craftsman design style, and the Cape design style. So not all of which, of course, have the same elements. Therefore, not all of the homes meet the requirements for the mountain design district. Again, here's some more elevations to show you kind of an idea of what the larger lot lines will look like. The garden homes in the center, here's a drawing that submitted by the applicant to show when you're facing, again, that set of 5, if you're looking between the two houses, you have this center area here, and then walkways that lead to the fronts of these homes. So the fronts face inward in a new urbanist style, so that the garages are facing out towards the alleyways, so the access ways. And then here we'd be looking the opposite with that courtyard in the middle, and then the two homes there. So actually, I apologize, this is looking the wrong direction. This is looking from the good side. So here are the garden homes, and very similar in design. They're just a little bit smaller, a couple of them. The 3 homes that are next to each other will be smaller than 2. But they still meet the zoning ordinance. So I guess we can kind of rushing through all this stuff. So here's the Cape group design. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm shopping
Oh,
here.
sorry. I'll back up then.
No, so the lot homes are larger square footage than the garden homes, or reverse?
They can
Some
be.
of the gardens look
Some of the
bigger
garden, the Plan 4 and 5 are big garden homes. And the
Okay.
3 in the back are small garden homes.
Okay.
And I'll explain all that way.
All right. Well,
He's doing great though. He's
Yeah,
just-
keep going. I'm sorry.
he's doing
I got
awesome.
lots to cover, but I was like, I
Roy
just
set
wanted.
this down.
And you're at 77 slides. I know, that's fine. Well, I'm sure I can pick it up in another one, but I just.
I can send you a presentation.
Thank you.
So anyway, so the setup of these is actually pretty similar to a lot of the homes in the area as far as the floor plan. But again, larger, they're detached, which is a little bit more desirable for the market down there. So showing kind of the specific aesthetics. So here's the Cape group. We have more of a focus on this kind of hardboard texture. And then large stone area going very high up with these kind of porthole windows. The Craftsman group, a little bit of a different style. Again, the hardy board kind of more up by the gables, and then we have these, what do you call it? Siding, yes. So this the straight siding and then the stone. And then, so the Euro group is going to be, again, different. We're going to have a lot more of the stucco, and then you have iron. So for your single family homes, that's kind of what we're looking at. Townhomes, they'll be in groups of, I think it was 3 groups like this. So again, you'll have kind of what we wanted for the zone is a little bit less of a stamped kind of clone look. We don't have just a run-of-the-mill visible a row of townhouses there. So this gives a little variety aesthetically, which is nice. Creates a nice urban design and then kind of a streetscape, which is what the zone is for. So here's some drawings of what those townhomes could potentially look like. So lots of window space, which is good. We like to see different roof lines as well as varying depths on the facade. So that meets all of the zoning requirements and the intent of the zone for this area. Let's see here. So here's some floor plans, which might be a little bit hard to see. There's a few different models. Again, it's different widths, different depths, which is, again, very desirable, the design guideline. So this is an existing project down in Provo the applicants put together. And this will be roughly what those townhouses would look like. So again, to look at it, it's got more of a traditional feel. I believe you said it was after someplace in Virginia. Yep. So they've obviously taken a lot of time to put attention to the detail of the urban design. The live work units, these will be facing 1300 west. This is a rendering to show potentially what those could look like from the street. So as you can see, we've got commercial space down here, which again with the canopies and the way that that's designed with the street wall being open to windows, gives some transparency and is beneficial for the aesthetic that we're looking for. Here's another shot that shows a little bit more of what those will look like.
That first drawing you had was 3 stories, that one looks like 2 stories.
Yeah, these are.
I don't know how many of each we'll do, but it'll be some 2 and some 3.
That means within the height requirements and things.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, we'll have to review specific plans when they're brought in. I mean, this is just.
There's already some of those out there on
7th South. Yeah, so the 3-story townhouses in general that you'll see are a pretty standard height.
Royce, go to the next slide and I'll tell them where it is. That essentially is old Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Right.
That's the downtown. We just literally copied a bunch of the facades of their businesses on Main Street in Fredericksburg. I was visiting there and I just went, this is cool. So we took pictures and decided to do it.
So it's kind of a unique product when we have in Pleasant Grove in that sense. So again, going with trying to maintain a non-repetitive facade. You can see that it's kind of even hard to tell from the outside where one unit begins and the other ends. So we like that as far as the aesthetic goes. So floor plans, all of these, I should mention, all of the proposed units will have 2-car garages, which is required for multifamily. They require some sort of, they require two parking spaces, and then the family homes will have a 20-foot driveway out in front, which will provide for 2 parking spaces, as well as a 2-car garage, which is required for all of our single-family homes. So parking requirements in this development are met per code. So here's the division, looking at the overall site to show you where everything is supposed to go. So different design groups within the gardens, and then the other types of housing as well. So as far as open space, what is green on here is contiguous open space that we've counted for the open space. So that was required to be 30% of the open space had to be contiguous open space, and then 75% of that had to be usable contiguous open space. So it's a little hard to see their calculations down there, but I do have those in the staff report. So they do meet the requirements for the code. So the applicant also pointed out yesterday in our design review board that as you can see, these kind of lighter yellow areas, those are all fenced areas. So those would be private backyard areas for the residents living there. And so that also adds to that open space aspect, though it doesn't meet the requirements. So a considerable amount of open space as part of this project. And here's another view of that, showing you more specifically where the walkways will go in the middle here and how driveways and so on. Okay, so the design review board yesterday, as we looked at what had been submitted, they decided that a lighting plan had not been submitted, so the applicant still needs to do that. And I've added these requirement reports that you have on in front of you. So this would be just toward the end of page 3. So we require that they provide a lighting plan. We want a larger playground area, and I'll go back here just to show you where that is. So we have a playground area up here, and the design review board wanted to see more than a small, type kids area. They wanted to see some seating, some more playground stuff like swings and pergola as well. We can agree to that. So we also want to see windows and garage doors with enforced parking, as anybody who's familiar with townhouses knows that people like to fill their garages and park out in front of their house. So in order to help reduce that, and you can't necessarily eliminate it all the time, if you have a window in the garage, you can see in, see it, and the HOA can then enforce that parking requirement by not having people filling their garages with stuff. So We also want to have more evergreens, as I mentioned before. The zone requires 30. Mountain Design District requires 60% of the trees to be green. But again, it's been designed for the garden area. If you guys feel that it's appropriate to make it 60%, then you can do that. The city council again can always waive that requirement as well and just go back to the 30%.
So would that be a motion on this item before us, or this first and the
Second item. Yeah, so all this stuff I'm talking about, this is all site plan and phasing plan.
Was,
Yeah.
can I add one thing on the evergreen trees, the natural characteristics of the area do not lend them well to evergreen trees. Then my regular recommendation, when you look seriously at changing that, most evergreens travel.
So unless we want a little burn for each one, I guess.
We're not experts really to say what they.
Correct, I just, but if you have an occupier of 30% or 60%, let's have 60% of trees that are
That's not general enough, so. So you can water table, maybe some cypress tree. All right, so another thing they needed is the landscape plan. Well, it's good. It needs to be stamped by a landscape architect to meet the code. So we need to do that. And then they also need to provide a drainage plan. So that's already been noted, and actually quite a few of these have been noted in the review comments that we sent from the engineer. So anyways, that's all I had on this one. Are there any questions? Any questions? Yes. Okay, so go ahead.
Only 68.
Can you send this presentation to Amy so she can look at it?
She needs to like read it.
All right. Applicant, I think is here.
Yeah.
If you want to introduce yourself, you can do that.
You might want to send your sales team over there.
I'm gonna hand a couple things out.
Oh, look at that.
You probably need to start with these.
Yeah, that right here.
There's very good. One of these for each of them. Just because it's a little easier to read than what's on the screen. It's pretty much the same thing, but there's a little more.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Lisa, would you like a copy to look at?
No, we're good.
Sure.
You got the slides.
My name is John Dester. It says in there Josh one with you, but John Dester, I own Georgetown Development, and I've been doing a fun thing since 1979. If this project's approved, it'll be my 30th one. I live in Provo now. My office is in Provo, but my wife and I started here at Pleasant Grove, and our first two homes were here, and now 2 out of my 3 daughters live back in Pleasant Grove. So it's kind of fun to come back here. I'm here all the time. What's that?
You need to come back.
I might.
Have they already picked out their lots? Are
What's
there
that?
any that have your daughters already picked out their lots?
No,
Are there any
the 2 daughters already built homes here in Pleasant Grove and live here.
Amy just wants to know where her competition lots are. I already know which. Okay, go on.
Hey, the project is a fun one for a couple of reasons for me. I like doing projects that are interesting and that are exciting, and this one is in that I've wanted to build these ones in the center that are, we call them garden homes. Lots of people refer to them as cottages, but that's a little bit used. And since this was supposed to be the garden zone, and we named our project Garden Grove because it sort of seemed appropriate, we named them gardens. And there's a second reason there. Those little groups of 3 in the back and 2 in the front, and the middle part actually forms, those are gardens. The original project in Irvine, California that I've copied and gotten permission from the owner of that project to do this and duplicate it here, they were originally designed to where those little garden courtyard things were flower gardens in one, herb gardens in another one. And in 17 years, those have segued into just really nice gardens that look better than what and you have some pictures there actually. If you turn to and this is kind of coming out random, but if you turn to the group that say garden houses, those are pictures I took last month down in Irvine of the original project. And it's all grown up and it's really awesome. And the people who live there are still excited about living there. Their property values have tripled since that project was built, not just because it's California. But what happened when, the way I found out about the project, so you have a little background, is that it was extremely successful in a downturn market there in California. They were in a downturn and these guys built this project. And then their first phase, they had 50 homes. And they opened it up and 500 showed up. And they had fighting and it was a mess. They shut it down and said, come back in 2 weeks and we'll have a lottery. And that made the news. So when I heard about it, I went down there to check it out. And I was totally enthralled with the way that they did this. And Royce did a super job of explaining it, but I just need to be clear. The way it's laid out is the two, I'm gonna just grab this. The way it works is that the two bigger homes really face what would be a public road. This is private, but the public street has the two big ones facing it. So when you drive this, it looks like single family homes of a nice size, as you see in the pictures. Then behind them, it's almost like they're little Siamese twins behind them. There's 3 houses back there. The way you get to them is you walk between the 2 big ones and to that center courtyard, and then it splits off. This cottage is over here, there's one in the middle, and there's one on the right. And everybody, though, has a private fenced area that's theirs. And I'll tell you, that's one of the big differences between every project I've ever done, other builders and other developments, is I really value private fenced space for the owners. When we do focus groups and we ask people, why did you choose our project? Invariably, really high on the list, there's 2 things: private fenced yards and the architecture. They like the design. Roy, I'm going to say it a little different way. Every one of our projects, no 2 homes are alike. There's no reason to have 2 homes in there. And out of the 68, there will be 2 alike. This will change the architecture, will change the colors, will change the building materials, and no 2 homes will be alike. So unlike so many other projects, and frankly, I'm surrounded by them over there, none of them are attractive, but they're the same. And so you have the same thing over and over. I just hate clones, like you alluded to, so you won't see any of those. The style of architecture, we're very comfortable with what you see here. Had I known it was supposed to be mountain, maybe I'd have tried to do that, but to be honest with you, we've developed for a long time that our idea of this was to have these little groups of 5 to be Cape, which is really a coastal kind of craftsman, is what Cape is. And then outright craftsman, and then Euro, so more stucco and a Euro look. They're going to be slightly different, slightly better than what you see here because the architectural renderer guy did it a certain way, and I don't like everything he did. Every one of them won't have a little metal railing like that. They won't all have red shutters. I mean, things like that I want to change, and we will. But if I could be concise about what makes ours different, it's a very low density, tons of open space. There's private fenced yards, I already mentioned that, driveways. 2/3 of the homes here have a 20-foot driveway. The pictures you see there in California don't look like that. In California, the 3 little ones in the back are 6 feet apart. I can take my fingers on that and touch that house and touch that house. Ours are 12 feet apart. So ours are twice as far apart as you see in the pictures. There's a landscape buffer all the way around the project. In the just the way I like to design them. In effect, and you saw it in the landscape plan, big trees, far bigger than what this illustration shows. In fact, the city demands a 3-inch caliper when we start. I think that's because it'll look good, but the trees go all the way around here and all the way up this side. And your version is the correct one. This is the one I'm pointing to. We worked that out with you and the council. Remember that a month ago, as far as the distance here in front, and it turned out really good. So we think we have about 20 feet or something there to play with as far as the sidewalk and landscaping. We haven't improved parking for the Livewood, and you already know about that because we dealt with that a few weeks ago. In the varied architecture, we'll put whatever kind of tree you really want, but I mean, we like putting some fir trees in, but we didn't know that we needed to do 60%. So yesterday morning, when Royce told me that, I'd rather not do 60% that way. And with David's comment, it seems like we ought to do trees that will live. And so that's it. Whatever question I can, you probably have a bunch. I overloaded it.
I think so.
Very good job.
Last time, you know, I visited the site and you know, I don't know, I personally think it's a good fit there.
Especially if the majority of being a single family. So I think it'll go a little easier.
You know, and the thing is, remember, they're all single family homes. They're all single family occupancy. It's just that the 17 townhomes are attached in groups. We've built, 1,000 of those same homes in different cities from Rexburg to St. Payson. And I originally was proposing 90 of them on this site. And then Ken appraised me of the rule that all of a sudden you had to have 3 different types and all of that. So it resulted in this. But the townhomes they fit not a certain type of person, but a certain type of, what would I say, a time in their life. In other words, they're appropriate for a certain time in different people's lives. So we actually sell them to young people, old people, every people. Our townhomes, we're kind of experts at that. But anyway.
I shouldn't, encourage you too much here, I guess we can. I've sold new products and I have my real estate license in 1994. And the first project I sold new ones in of yours was Westgate.
Really?
Bought my family bought 2 of the 0 lot line houses down there. And Envision Utah award for that one. And this is very similar. I think I've sold new to clients in 8 or 9 different projects. And everybody, I mean, all I can say is I wish you got here sooner because some of the product that we've got out here now, I would prefer for it to be what you built. So,
Thanks, Drew. I didn't know that.
No, that's good.
Thank you.
Oh, I have pictures of a bigger. See, the reason, that deal with the playground, they got bogged down on that last night, and I think it's just my draftsman drew it too small because really, I can hand these out if you want, but we build bigger playgrounds. They have a fence around them. They have benches inside for mom to sit on while the kids play. These are just cut sheets from another project that I'm doing right now, simultaneous with this one. But I'm happy to pass them out. You guys probably already know what a pergola looks like.
Yeah.
And it may not need a whole bunch more handouts, but if you want them, I brought them.
I just hope your printer survived all this.
I'm telling you, the printer broke and choked on me before I got the most important one done tonight. I was late getting there for that.
Great. Thank you. We'll open up for public comment. Jennifer? It looked like it was for a second. If no public comment, we'll bring it back up here to close public comment and bring it back up here to the commissioners. Any further discussion or motions?
So we have to modify, you have to have a lighting plan.
Yeah, so these are all just stuff with the contract report we went through the code and said what they need, what they don't need. These are the things that so the lighting plan needs to be a specific lighting plan showing where everything's going to be. Street lights are on, external lighting.
That's not this first motion, right? Okay. So this motion will just.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So this is, the first motion is just the subject.
Mr. Chair, I move the planning commission approve the proposed 68 lot preliminary subdivision called Garden Grove Plats A and B, located approximately 15 south, 1300 west in the Grove Mixed Housing Subdistrict, and adopting the exhibits, conditions, and findings in the staff report.
We have a motion by Commissioner Richards. We have a second.
Amy,
We'll give Amy the second. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. You know, Amy.
Now, the lighting, okay, so back to this. So we got the lighting plan, what else? Oh, it's over down there. Okay.
So, whereas now you can take over the second item. It can be two.
DRB,
What I would say, well,
except for
Except for the trees, we have to do.
yeah, let's go through those and see what you guys you want to do and what you don't. Because the lighting plan, we need to make sure that happens. If we want to specify the larger playground, we can. Okay, so we'll stick with that one. Let's see, providing windows in the garage doors. And then the evergreen trees, they need to meet the 30% requirement for the code. They do meet it right now, or don't? They don't. Something we need to add more to meet that. So what are we talking about? How many, what do we need to say here? How many more? So there are currently 4, but I count, there could be more. I guess I didn't count on that larger one.
we have those trees that live.
Well, the code says evergreen, so, that's the way the
Going
code
for
is.
the ones that you might have some discretion.
Yeah. Right. So I mean,
Is that a literal code?
yeah, it says that landscape requirement. Right, so, and that's like, yeah, mixed housing zone wide, so.
But it's 30% for the garden, so can we leave it at 30%?
You can, if you like, if you want to recommend that, you can, because the city council can waive any design requirements. And do we have a problem on the windows, the garage doors, or? Okay.
That's one of the issues, is that parking sometimes can become an issue.
Should we talk about 30%?
Okay, let's just go down to the line. Are you okay with 30%? Yes. And then, the providing landscape plan. That's it.
Sorry about that. Should we reconsider what this is? Are we allowed to, since we're doing the 30%, maybe have a review type of period of best figure?
Can we just do that and the planning commission make a motion that maybe that's reviewed in the future? Yeah, I mean, we can always review it. You can't change the requirement because the code says that, but you can recommend it. No change. You can do that. So yeah, the landscape plan, that's something in the code, so they need to do that. And then they also need to provide a drainage plans and engineering. I think we're okay with that.
So do we still need to name them individually, or can we just say as the DRB is?
I think it's a DRB because you're accepting the staff report, and that's included in the staff report. So maybe you want to, well, when we're modifying, you might want to specify what's modified.
We can say accept the DRB report with exception of line forward.
Yeah. So, whereas before we do a motion, we have to, if the applicant wants to talk again, we have to have public hearing. So, before we get to, yeah.
We're on item number 8 now.
So do you have any other further on this side?
Do you have any more slides?
Item number 8 is overall. I have pictures of the California project, but that's the only other thing I have. So,
I didn't see pictures we
I don't have any other information. So we'll come back if you have anything. Okay.
If you had a question, happy to answer it.
We have no open item number 8 to public input. And see what we can go. Close it, bring it back up here, and now we can finish. I almost think this one should be Amy's motion.
I agree.
She should. Mr. Chair, I forgot to mention, I think, I don't know if it's in my motion.
The lighting?
We do need to make sure that, oh, site and phasing plan, never mind. I just want to make sure the phasing plan is in there.
Oh, I just, all right, there we go.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Wait,
We're almost peer pressure.
That's okay. It's a lot. Yeah, because well, because okay. Yeah, they're asking for failure. Okay.
You can't request that you get first choice.
That's okay. I can touch it, right? All right, Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission approve the proposed site and phasing plan for Garden Grove located at approximately 8610 North, 1300 West in the Grove Mixed Housing Subdistrict, and adopting the exhibits.
Is that correct? That address is right.
I don't know where it's, it should be 15. Yeah, sorry. That's my bad.
What's the address?
My address?
So it's 15 south.
Oh, wait. Oh,
Is it right, it's right on the agenda.
1300
15 south, 1300 west.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move the planning commission approve the proposed site and phasing plan for Garden Grove located at approximately 15 south, 1300 west in the Grove Mixed Housing Subdistrict, and adopting the exhibits, conditions, and findings of the staff report, and as modified by the conditions from the design review board to require to provide a lighting plan, to provide a larger playground with swings, seating area, pergola, provide windows and garage doors to enforce parking, add more evergreens to meet the 30% requirement, provide a landscapes plan stamped by a licensed landscape architect, and provide a drainage plan.
Is that, did we,
Did I?
you want to maintain that 30?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Well, is that,
Did I make a message?
are we okay on the motion?
You said it's part of the code, but we can make a recommendation. Where do we make a
Do we
recommendation?
have to do that?
Recommendation would be after this. I think we just make a motion, make a recommendation. Yeah, to review that. Okay, so there's a motion by Commissioner Cardin. We have a second. Commissioner Armstrong, second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, then if Commissioner Richards, if you make a quick motion to review that.
I would like to make a motion to recommend to, or is it DRB?
City Council.
City Council to let's see, what would be the right word? To consider other types of trees
That survived.
that survived in that area.
So the section 10 to 15 landscaping.
You got it.
And as per David. All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Richards. We have a second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Kennedy, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So the very last item is reviewing through the minutes from the following meetings. I'm going to separate these two because March 12th was with the word. So we have a review and approve the minutes for the meeting minutes on April 9th, 2015.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the planning commission minutes for our April 9th, 2015 meeting.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Richards. We have a second.
I'll second that one.
Commissioner Armstrong seconds that. All those in favor? Aye. All right, so, and then the March 12th, 2015 minutes, correct me if I'm wrong, Barbara, but that's the one that's including Verizon wireless cell tower, that we can go with what we discussed that night. Not audio.
No, you can still do it.
Yeah, you still go with that. All right.
We need a call.
I'll vote.
Make the motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the planning March 12, 2015 minute. That were originally written.
Correct, okay, and so we have a motion by Commissioner Richards, we have a second? Or if you need time to, previously, this is it.
Whatever you want.
It's whatever we tell her.
Initially. How's that?
Sorry, I still have a problem with my, so you took my comments back and again recording, and that was how I said it, really?
No,
No,
which,
I wasn't, that's wasn't. Oh, that's right, it was one,
what they did is they went back to the audio
right.
and they took the actual words off.
That's
That's what the minutes reflected.
with our discussion with
Right,
Tina,
but-
that's what they'll do.
so, but-
In the appeal, I think the appeals, but that's what they'll use.
Okay. No, I did not say.
So where are you at, Amy? Tell me what page.
Oh,
so I
so
might
page
put-
12, line 42.
What do you want it to say?
Well, I did not say it was not a better option. I just said it wasn't necessarily. It was sort of like a lesser of two evils. That's my.
Okay, I'll have to correct it to say not a better option.
So we can,
Stated that.
as amended, and I guess we can include that in the motion.
As amended by Amy on page 12, line 42.
41, 42.
It sounds like you're adding necessarily to between non and A, right?
Yeah.
Line 42.
Of course, that'll be subject to probably come back before us again, right? Because you gotta review that and double check.
Well, that's not part of the motion. That's just.
Yeah, as she recalls, yes. Okay.
So what do you want it to say? Then? She stated that
It's not split necessarily in between
Not
those two
necessarily
words.
a better option.
it was not necessarily.
So we have so we have our amended minutes. So, okay, so we have that motion by Commissioner Richards. We have a second now on that. Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Cronin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we think we have one last motion.
Make a motion, we complete this meeting.
There was a motion by Commissioner Richards to